Hey everybody, it's Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong. I've got 4 Christmas journals that are in the shop right now. These are similar to the last 2 journals that I made. They're very grungy, or let me say they're a nice base for a lot of old-fashioned or grungy or really handmade primitive stuff. These are kind of primitive, I guess you would say. They do have the rusty safety pins like the last couple of journals, and I want to quickly show you these. They're all 4 built identically as far as the number of pages. There are 5 signatures, and each signature has 5 pages in it, and then they're folded, of course. Each one has a rusty safety pin on the spine with some wire, and it's got a couple of red wooden beads and then some sort of key. This one is fun. It's got an automatic toy company key that went to a toy, and then I thought that looked like a cash box or something. I thought about so many things while I was making these. Charles Dickens and the song about brown paper packages tied up in string. Each one has got a label that says A Handmade Christmas, and it's got my stamp on the other side. So let me show you one at a time very quickly. There are more pictures on the shop listing. The first one has got the fabric on the front that has the old flowers. It has a cloth flower that I've made and sewn into place first with the sewing machine and then the black heavy duty thread, and there are some of the shiny beads in there. It's got a piece of this broken necklace and a rusty safety pin holding the tag into place. The inside is an old red fabric. It's been washed. I have stitched in a few places to cover up tears in the fabric. I think it makes it look really handmade. And then just going through some of the pages, I reinforced with the paper tape because they were somewhat delicate. This one's tied with the black and white twine or string. I think 2 are tied with that, and then 2 are tied with the brown twine. And then there's an old book page. Some of these pages are lightly tea stained. It's nice paper, and you can see the center of that signature. I'm going to flip pretty quickly. I have not done any work in these. I tried to make it a really good base for a fun Christmas, that's old wallpaper, a really nice base for just some fun, either grungy work or shabby or primitive, as I said. And then I did reinforce that vellum with some paper tape. And just be aware, these are made in such a way that you could have some unraveling around the edges. Each journal has quite a few layers of fabric. We've got 2 layers on the inside here, and then the pocket. The outside has got 3 or 4 layers. And you know, the unraveling, I've pulled off a lot of the strings already so that you don't have to deal with too much of that. But just be aware, these are supposed to be primitive, they're supposed to be grungy. This is the way they're supposed to look. So that's the first one. The second one is very similar. It is bound with the sort of tan or brown twine. It's got my stamp on the back and a lot of layers. This one has the doily on the spine, and then a piece of the toile on the front. It's got a piece of the broken necklace and the flower. And then I don't really need to flip through every single page. These are very similar. And I will say on this one, I started sewing these signatures in with the sewing machine, and I did do each one partially. And then I decided to not go with that completely because I don't know, I feel like if you want to work on these pages, and you can see a couple of these pages in the front, I did put some glue down in, so they're glued together a little bit, and that's okay. That wouldn't bother me. I just want to let you know why these first, I think it's the first 3 pages, and that was because of the machine stitching. So you can see there's machine stitching, and then everything is bound in with twine as well. I just wanted it to be sturdy, and once I started sewing it in, I don't know, I didn't want to end up with a situation where your pages might be perforated, and I really like the look of the binding on the outside with these Christmas journals. I just felt like it added something to it to have these signatures sewn in like that with the twine and all. So, you know, the pages are going to be really similar. I chose the exact same pages for everything. Where it is going to be different is the one-of-a-kind vintage book page that each one has, or the one-of-a-kind calendar page, and otherwise they're exactly the same. And then the third one has got one of the pretty birds on the front, some ticking, and it's got my stamp on the back. You can see it's got like an old spread that the cover is made from, and again, several layers on each side. And the pages, once again, are going to be very similar. They were made exactly the same as far as the number of pages and the types of pages, the tea-stained pages, the craft paper, the scrapbook paper, and then like this one has an old book page. I know I saw it, and they're all just a little bit different. And then there's the inside back and my stamp. And then the fourth one, and again, they all have the flower that is partially machine stitched, and then I finished that with the heavy thread, and it has some of the beads on it, and each one has a part of this old necklace, and the beads, the key, the rusty safety pin. This one has the toy key with the red bird. I will say, be careful with the safety pins. They are rusty. If you want to take the key off, you have to take the whole safety pin out, because that is wired to the safety pin. And it's not hard to do. You know, you just undo that and slide it out, but you have to push a little bit to get these in because they are rusty and they want to catch a little bit. So I ask you, please be careful. So this one is bound in. Let's get to the center of the first signature with the sort of tan colored twine. There's the book page in that one. And otherwise, again, they're all going to be very similar the way they're set up. They each have just a little bit of music, and of course the music sheets are old. They all have a map page, and I picked map pages for every one, not map, but a calendar. For each one, I picked them that were icy. Like this is Ice Boat Race on the Hudson. And there's the vintage Christmas paper, music, and then just going on through to the back. There's a nice pocket, that's some vintage lace or some vintage trim for that. And there's my stamp, and you can see where I've repaired some areas with just a zigzag stitch. Again, these are meant to be primitive. That's the look that I was going for, and they're meant to be fun. They're meant for you to work in and put things in without being afraid to use them. So I hope that you like these. I really enjoyed making these. They're in the shop right now. I also have finished up some digitals that I will be listing soon, and I'll be back soon with those. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.